guys. I thought I was live, but I wasn't. So now I am live. Welcome to Awaken Activate. And what we're going to talk about tonight is deception and the perception and the simple truth. And a lot of times this seems to be, what happens is it's so simple that we need more. We're going to dig because we want a stronger understanding and understanding. So we keep that twisted thinking, that deception in our perception until almost like a self-convincing on who you are and what you truly are. Look at this weird image behind me. It's hard to even look at, really, with the perception of the multiple eyes. It's almost like a blurred type thing to look at. So, ponder on that. The perception there, that is like what I'm trying to say with a twisting in the perception. Let me check now and see if I am actually live with you guys and you can hear me. Please let me know if the sound is okay. And because I've got a presentation that I want to show you guys about, the simplicity of it. But a lot of us want to get into numerology, astrology, etymology, all these different deep concepts that all lead to the truth. Yes, but it's really a simple truth, but maybe it's difficult to wrap our minds around because it is so simple on who we are and our deception and the perception. So let me go along. We got Janice and the truth that sets you free. Hello, doll, or should I say dolls? I'm going to move over to the one where it's easier for me to read the chat on the white screen. Okay, so I'm going to go through some images that I have captured to kind of tell a story about how we get, twisted in our mind and in our heart, and the things that we could perceive when we are, having those kind of things go on with us. So let's start at the top. There's quite a few of them I put in here to share with you, along with some gifts to show you too. Okay. All right. Oh, that's our media. Hold on. Let me get it together. Okay. There we go. Okay. Is your perception of reality something like this? Is this what you see going on around you? And if so, how do you feel inside? How does this image, what emotion does this bring up within you? What does this do within you if you're perceiving this kind of stuff going on around you? Although you may not be seeing this with your natural physical eyes, but it being even projected at you, it brings up an emotion of, twisted thinking, twisted perception of what is, going on around us. Now let me go to the next one. Or are you seeing something along the lines of this? What kind of an emotional response does this bring up in you? Well, again, that would be a twisting of thought, twisting and thinking. Have you personally seen this? Some people may have. It may have manifested in their natural life because of when we have twisting in our thinking or deception in our perception and not knowing who we are, we can actually manifest such things around us. So that's, the long and short of it. But I want to get more into, how we get out of that paradigm into, knowing that everything you need to know is within you. And I may actually open up the phones and take some calls from you guys to see what you have, to add what information, experience that you've had or seen, in your neighborhood, an experience to share. Okay, now I am going into I'm going to have to move myself out of the way for a moment because I want to read this to you. So hold on a minute. Let me move me. There we go. And I want to get that out of the way too. Get out of the way so I can activate. Okay. Now, with a twisted thinking, twisted perspective, we're taking everything as a personalization. Let's start with number one. Number one is an overgeneralization that, I'm going through this, and if I talk about it or show myself, everybody's going to think I'm crazy. Or, everybody feels that their rights are being, or everybody doesn't like this person, or everybody's going to vote for it. So overgeneralization, meaning that everybody is thinking exactly the same way that you are without actually knowing if they are or not. Number two, it's an all or nothing type thinking. Well, it's you do this our way by the way we're preaching it to you, or like condemnation and things like that. You find that a lot with people that are in a fear paradigm of coming out of what they find is a comfort zone, and we're all going to heaven, and they're all going to another place. Okay, number three, a mental filter. We tend to do that. We put up mental filters. We filter information. That's a part of how we are built. We're meant to filter information and use discernment. But the simple truth is that mental filter actually blocking you from the actual truth, the simplicity of the truth on who and what you are? Number four, disqualifying the positive. This happened to me, but, I didn't deserve it, or I'm not worthy of, or things that are flourishing in your life, you kind of overlook them. Number five, the shoulds. Well, I should have done this, or I should have done that. Things would have come out better. The doubt, the regret. Number six, mind reading. Well, it's like you think one way, so you think everybody else should think one way. So you're, reading into a situation without fully understanding, or walking in that person's shoes and feeling what they're actually going through. Number seven, predicting the future. We're in the end times. We are, Jesus is going to come down with his sword, and he's going to smite those sinners, or anything with predicting the future. Even when we're predicting, saying it's going to be sunshine and butterflies, the moment is what we have, and what we do in the moment is what is really important. Number eight, magnifying and minimalizing. So you're magnifying something in too much abundance, and then you're minimalizing the grace and goodness and peace and love that is within you. Number nine, emotional reasoning. You reason with yourself on why, I'm sorry about my dogs, on why this shouldn't or should be happening with you through your emotional status and reaction. Number 10, labeling and mislabeling. So you're saying things about other people without fully even knowing them, or, like I said, walking in their shoes. And actually, when you do tend to label or group people, a lot of times it's completely a mislabel. And number 11, personalization, taking everything so personal when it's really not meant to be a personal type of a situation. This is an everybody thing. Everybody. And it's a simple truth that we're going to go through about what is within you, me, and everybody. No matter which way we're going after it, we're all going to end up at the same wonderful place. Okay, let me come back up on the screen for you. And okay, I come down on one on that one. And where am I? Where am I? Hi, there you am. Okay, let's move down to judgment. You are not the judge. You're not the judge of anybody else. Actually, this is in scripture. I think I'm in the way of it. Matthew 7:2. You are not the judge. So let's all come off of that seat of judgment, because we have no rights to judge anybody else for anything. As we just talked about, we have not walked even a minute, let alone a mile, or spend any time within that individual to even know what their trials are, what they're going through, heartbreaks. We don't know their situation entirely. So why should we judge? We don't have that right. Okay, now let me get down to the simple truth. I gotta get out of the way. I am totally in the way, so you guys cannot, read this, and that's not right. So let me move me. Okay. Smile is the electricity, and life is a battery. Whenever you smile, the battery gets charged, and a beautiful day is activated. So keep smiling. As I said, we're going to go through the stages, and then we're going to talk about it. So, and then I'll be able to see the chat and stuff like that is going on with you guys. Okay, and then we've got when you're clear thinking in your mind and you've untwisted, you're seeing freedom, beauty, truth, and love. And I think I have that. Should be it for. I know I have an image of creation, but I think it's in one of the gifts. Okay, so we're gonna start again with the twisting of our mind, the twisting of the simple truth. Let me pull me back up. Where did I go? I'm doing all this through OBS. I had to load up a whole bunch of screenshots and images and GIFs to share with you guys to hopefully put together, a presentation that is easy to follow for everybody. Where am I? There I am. Okay, when you're twisted in your thinking, or not thinking properly, or not understanding and understanding, who you are, and how actually it's really simple, and every journey and every experience that we have, it broadens our heart, our mind, and our expression. And what we are expressing around us is actually coming from within us. And from within us, we are actually creating what is going on around us. It starts small. It starts from untwisting your mind. As you can see, this is a black and white going down a hallway of twisting and twisting and twisting. Okay, so let me pull up the next one, and Yeah, yep. And then I will stop on one of them at the very end and we will discuss it. Now, then you go through a process. Some people call it Christ consciousness. Some people call it the Kundalini awakening, Holy Spirit baptism, or a process that we go through within ourselves. This doesn't take away from the truth. This is just another way of getting to the truth. So, if you're following Christ and you are truly looking into his pure teachings, you're going to get led to the same truth that everybody is going to come to. It's not, one is better than the other. It is truly and honestly a truth that resides within everybody. And when people do things that we think are wrong or cruel, it's a twisting in their thinking and their perception. They're seeing deception in their perception. They're not seeing the simple truth that is within them, that we project what's going on around us. We are not subject to the environment around us. We are actually helping to establish what is going on around us. It comes from here to here, up and out. But we'll show that frequency energetic field here just a moment. Okay. And we're going to go on to the next one. And pull this one down. I hope you guys are getting it. Understanding what I'm trying to lay down. And please excuse my smoking. Anyways, so the next one, the next slide that is coming up is from the Buddha, the creation, the colorful creator floating in the infinite possibilities and probabilities. We all sing the same song. Yes, vision of Christ. Yes. So, with that, let's see, am I up to speed? Yeah. Okay. So we're in this infinite possibility, probability, reflecting from within what is going on around us, and just an untwisting in the deception in our perception, or thinking that it is by works or labor, or we need to, behave in a certain way. There's a deception in our perception. To the pure of heart, all things are pure. You don't see bad in any way. You see the divine. You see your brother and sisterhood. You see co-creators. You see it's a beauty and a love that is beyond comprehension. But it's there, and it's truly very simple to get there. It's a simple concept. God, creator of all, is not the author of confusion. It's not going to make it so that it is so difficult. Remember, even in scripture, it says that a 5-year-old can understand the move of God. I think even younger, because they are pure heart. They are looking at everybody as these beautiful, wonderful beings, as love. They're just looking at everybody with love. It's just a profound understanding, and it's simple. It's really that simple. Okay, now we're going to go to the next one, and oh wait, on that one. Dingy, dingy, dingy. Okay, here we go. Now, let's look at the field that surrounds each and every one of us. No matter what your thought process is, you've got this beautiful toroidal field. whether people call it clearing out your chakras or, getting your heart and mind in alignment, walking in that peace that is beyond understanding, because you're not seeing the negativity. You're not seeing you're looking at everybody through pure eyes and seeing them for the truth, the honesty, the divine, the co-creating divine being that they are. Now they can be seeing something completely different than you, because of it depends if they have resonated yet with the truth and walk in it. You're not going to get in trouble for, doing things. When you walk in this peace, you have no fear. You will just have this infinite understanding within you, and you will be able to actually see other people who may be putting out information in those different platforms like I was talking about, whether it be from from the sky, astrology, etymology, or numerology, or showing people blatantly the truth about these deceptive measures that are used through a programming box, so that you will co-create what they're wanting, rather than establish the simple truth within yourself and manifest and create the beauty that's within you all around you. Okay, I've got one more to pull up for you guys, and I'm gonna leave this one up while we either take calls, or I'm going to stay into the chat so I can see you guys and see if you're understanding what I'm laying down here. So okay, so now I'm in the chat with you. Let me do a quick shout out, because once you've got this simple truth resonating through all your chakra, your toroidal field is, no longer has holes in it or gaps, because you're in alignment. You're walking in that peace and confidence without any doubt. Then we get into creating. That's when you realize, holy moly, I have been a part of creating what has been going on around me the entire time. So how can I blame somebody else for something that I have created? I put my intention and attention, and as we know, where your attention, intention, and your heart goes, energy flows. So with that, when you change your perception and you come out of deception, you can eat whatever you want and not gain weight. You'll realize that there's really nothing here that can hurt you. You're here to have an experience, and with that, you can't really claim victim, or that you're the controller. It just depends on, are you handing over your power to co-create and manifest somebody else's thoughts or what they're putting out there, or have you went ahead and taken your sovereignty back and started to create something that would be good for you first, and then it projects out and around you, and then it starts to affect other people in your neighborhood, or they'll start seeing the clear blue skies, they'll start seeing the peace, they'll start walking in this understanding by the example. We are awake, and once we are awake to this truth, we must activate. And when we are activated with no doubt, and we know that we are, co-creating and manifesting, God did not put us here defenseless. We have just forgotten the one simple truth about who we are. So with that, that is a very powerful but simple thing to to absorb. I hope I laid down a nice example of going from a twisting in your thought pattern to a clearing. And how can, like was saying earlier, how can we blame anybody else for something that we either, willingly participated in to some degree, and we learned and we expanded and we grew from it. And that was the key tool that helped me with forgiveness. How can I hold blame against anybody that for any situation that I was involved in or was held into, because I couldn't hold anybody else responsible, because I became aware that I helped create it, to learn a lesson, to grow from it. Sometimes we feel like we're going in circles and repeating the same lessons over and over again. But I tell you, you're not. You're not creating the same situation. You're actually, think of it as a winding staircase. If you circle back around to something that is similar to your past, or maybe you feel like you're attracted to the same type of man, you're still going at a different perspective from the earlier experience. Your discernment's kicked up. You know what to look for. You know the signs. And you'll walk away from that situation because it no longer serves you. And that's a big part of, this awakening process. Is it's a simple understanding, but a lot of the old dogmas and doctrines or situations that we've been through, we cleave to them instead of letting them go. And by cleaving to them, we're actually staying in that lower vibration when you are an infinite divine being that, you have so much potential. You have so much power. You have so much say-so in what's going on. And there's so many people talking about their experiences, and like I said, numerology, astrology, truthers, Mandela effect, all different kinds of avenues of helping you to go through the process. Because when it first happens, you feel like, oh my goodness gracious, the rug's been pulled out from underneath of me. My world is flipped upside down. Well, yeah, because I had a deception in my perception. I did have everything inverted and upside down. So as the time has passed, things have went right side up, and I look at the skies and I see just the beauty. I see when I talk, somebody pointed out to me when I was making my first testimony videos that the skies were actually reacting to the frequency of my voice and the energy and the unconditional love that I was putting out as I was sharing my experiences. And I couldn't believe it. It showed up in just about every single one that I did outside. Something was going on with the vibration that I was either omitting out of me, the frequency of unconditional love and peace. Most of you guys know this, that I lost my daughter. Well, yesterday was her birthday, so I just kind of took the day off. I just spent the day, meditating, alone time, quiet, and in that came the simplicity of it. It's we try to make things more difficult. Like, we need the science to prove that X, Y, and Z is true, or we need to have a logical, still lifting that logical side of our brain up higher than our creative side, right side. It's a left-right paradigm. So by doing that, we need a logical explanation for how we get from point A to point B. Well, You will get there. I mean, it's inevitable. All means all. And it doesn't really matter where you're at in your experience. Knowing that you're a divine sovereign and that you are co creating, or other people even acknowledging that when they see things going on within your life, within what's going on around you, and just not interfering. We don't want to interfere with anybody's experiences and sovereignty. That's something that I really treasure. I don't want anybody to encroach control over me. I don't want to encroach my will or tell anybody, you have to do it this way, or, condemnation, because that's so far from the truth, you guys. It's so far from the truth. To those who have that are pure, everything is pure. To the Christians, which I was raised Christian, do you believe Christ when he said it is finished? Do you believe him when he said the kingdom's at hand? That the kingdom comes without outward observation, that it's within? Some words that are in the very scriptures that people read that seem to get misunderstood. Like I say, the deception and the perception. So I am going to say, I think the Bible is a beautiful book. Absolutely beautiful. The truth's in there. If you can dig deep enough within you and then read the book as an outward source, as a confirmation for, what is within you, instead of looking to that outward source and following that, that's giving your power away. And it's allowing others to manipulate by, propaganda, the boob tube, for you to perpetually create with your divineness that you have. You don't lose it. It's not something that you're born with and that you fall out of. You have it. It's in you. 24/7. You are a conscious divine being, co-creating, whether you're co-creating on the behalf of something that you're seeing outside of yourself, or if you're co-creating from what is going on within you. It doesn't change anything. And that's another simple truth. You are made perfect. And no matter where you're at in this walk, it doesn't matter. You are unconditionally loved. You are made perfect. And when you become awakened, I know a lot of people are probably going, she's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. But when you get to that point yourself, you're going to say, oh, no, she wasn't so crazy. She was just trying to lift me up and bring me to the knowledge of how wonderful and beautiful that my heart, my mind. We talk about the chakras, the rainbow. The rainbow's mentioned in the Bible. We are all a bunch of walking rainbows. And what is a rainbow? It's the promise of God, right? So it's not something you have to earn. It is not something that we have to feel that we are worthy of. You are already it. You are the one that can do all things. You have the authority and the power and the glory within you. And it's not up to me whether you decide you want to wake up and come to that understanding. It's up to you. You've got to be the one that wants this for yourself. Let me give the room a shout out. I don't know if the notifications went out. I did put it into Facebook and Twitter this time. I didn't on the other one. And I'm not going through StreamYard, obviously. I'm on OBS. So some people did say that they did get the notifications. So let me see who we got in chat. And I will say hi to you. We got System Failure. Janice Ames, the truth that sets you free. Yes, ma'am. It sure does. Vision in Christ. Dusty Blue, Olivia Luke, Jesse Ennis. Let me look. Oh, Brian Stavely. Preliminal. Preliminal. I say that on purpose. I know his name is Preliminal. Okay? I just like to add on some of the names that I think are really cool and people that I know to just put a little razzmatazz to their names. Do you guys want me to open the phones and call in and add to what you, where you're at, what you think about the simplicity of the truth and the understanding and the deception in our perception? What do you think? I can pull them up really quick and pull the number up for you guys. Just give me a moment. And remember though, come in muted and because I can hold up to 5 calls, and you can hear everything that's going on. If there's somebody on the phone that they're talking about, you can hear them, and me. So you can go ahead and mute the live stream. Let me find the phone number first, but don't call yet because I haven't turned them on. Is that the phone number? Let's see. Isn't that a beautiful image? You know who that reminds me of? Kind of reminds me of Viv. It just does. It just does. Okay. Is that big enough for you guys to be able to see it? And let me see where I'm at. Okay, it's on the screen. Hold on. Okay. Let me see. Let me open up the phones. You guys will hear it go ring-a-ding, so don't mind that. Okay. Sorry about my rambunctious dog. All right. Where are we at? Okay, so the phone number is up, so that way you can call and give me what your thoughts are and your opinions on, deception in the perception, and, how this, simple truth can impact or help, other people with their awakening and understand that they are already pure, already loved unconditionally, already forgiven, and we co-create. And as you're awake and you are activated, you then will manifest what is going on around you, from, like, you'll see it reflecting outside of you. You'll notice a difference physically, and then physically it'll start vibrating out further and further. It'll be your toroidal field first, which we cross toroidal fields with people all the time. When you get those gut instincts or those weird feelings or intuitions about others, you can get that, you can feel that vibe from them on, and then you can decide, should I stay or should I go? Okay, we've got a caller, I think. Okay, we do. Let me make sure we've got 210. You're on Awaken Activate with Michelle. Tell me who you are, please. Hold, hold on a minute, sweetheart. I changed it when Saji was on. Okay, it should be. Microphones. Do you hear me better now? You know what? I got to do this for these guys. There we go. Okay, now you should be able to say something, Viv.
Well,
There we go.
can you hear me clear?
Yes, I can. And what I had to do is turn on the OBS sound for them to be able to hear you. So now everything should be 5x5 for them. So how are you, sweetie?
I'm good. I stayed busy organizing my home more than it already is. So today I did like just little things around here, and anyway, so I really like your topic and I love your background. It's really beautiful.
It reminds me of you. I'm not kidding when I say
It
that.
it reminds you of what?
Of you.
Of me.
When I
Oh, that's
selected
really sweet.
when I selected this gift, I was like, oh, this like reminds me of Viv. So yeah,
I'm
that's nice that you
I'm
like it.
so glad I came in and listened tonight. There were so many really good things that you said, with your the perception ideas, and we always need a refresher because we're limited by our human limitations, and it sounds when sometimes somebody's sharing and then somebody feels like they're not there yet. It's almost the same thing with different belief systems. Somebody will think they're not there, they're not where they should be, instead of just going with the process that they are where they are supposed to be in their process. So I had stepped into another show earlier today, and I won't, name names or anything, but there was a lot of interesting judgment going on in there about somebody made a comment about feeling sorry for someone else because they weren't at their Christian level, and I thought, and I heard that person say something about praying for that other person, and I just clicked out of the room because I thought to myself, I can't vibrate with that energy. I can't. I just cannot connect with that type of way of thinking at all. That's kind of the concepts. Even for me, I have a very different belief of God, and I'm sure you know that
Mm.
by now. But one of the things that came up for me while I was listening to you today as well was the idea that, um, I don't see us separate from Christ or God. I see God as the maker of every energy and Christ as sort of the connection, like that we're all brothers and sisters. And so this is what I'm writing in my book. Today I avoided it. I didn't finish. I mean, there's moments where this week I put maybe about 6 hours into it. I was really proud of myself, but there's aspects of time where I can't write. But I just I loved every bit of what you displayed through uh, your show tonight, and I'm so glad that I came in and just even carried the phone around with me while I did my organizing chores.
I know it's kind of a you know, with OBS, it's like I know it might be a little annoying for people as I'm going to the next images and trying, but I thought it would be best to show what I'm talking about, give examples of what I'm talking about through imagery, not just through words. So I hope it came out and clearly for people to be able to understand that no matter what where you are in the awakening process, you're perfect. You're already pure. You're already forgiven. You're already pure love. You are here to experience, create, and grow. I mean, not to hew down or even that when propagate this light came on with me. He had brought up human, and he brought up the etymology of breaking the words apart, right? And Hugh used to, it kind of Mandela affected me when he said that. When he said that Hugh is God and man, God man, okay? I always knew Hugh to be like hewn down, somebody that's hewn down lower than, like less than man. So when he said that, it kind of was mind boggling to me. But as we see these Mandela effects, they seem to be revealing truth drops. We see these effects, and there seems to be a pattern in it about the changes, how things are changing, and in the way that they're changing, to be more pointed at each individual person on how amazing and wonderful that
I'm getting a lot of fuzz on your
that we
voice.
are.
I mean, a lot. I'm hearing you and I'm struggling. It's so sad because I want a better connection and I don't know how to get that, but
How's
it
it
is what it
sounding
is,
in
right?
the chat room? Because I hear you perfectly, and it's usually the other way around. So hold on.
Well, I can't tell what it sounds like in the chat because I'm not going to turn
No,
up my other thing,
I'm
and it'll
asking them,
vibrate through.
honey. I'm asking them. Don't worry. You're so cute. I love you. Because if they're hearing a reverberation, then I need to fix it. Because when I had, well, no, I had Saggy in both places though. See, you're piped through my mic out to them through OBS.
It's yeah. That I don't know if that's the problem or what. It's very because your mic does fine with your chat. Like I was going to tell you, you have got this really good voice for even like children's books. Like you could do children's books, and they would be just so like, oh, she's reading us to sleep. In a good way, not a bad way. You could do a lot of teaching with your voice. It's real soothing and your energy is really good. There was something that you said, and I caught some of the things you just said now, but I'm going to have to go back and listen. But I will say there was something you said also earlier, about how we are creating our own reality. And there are times in our human minds where we forget that we are part of what is happening to us. And then, somebody will say, well, but then on a global level, well, we're all co-creators and we are all collectively creating even the chaos and the emotional pain that's going on right now in, I think it's Missouri. It's really sad. This is all a part of the collective creation of what's being cleared out right now. And one of the things that I went to see a lady, I did a course with Abraham. I don't know if you know who Esther Hicks is. I think her name is. She does Esther and Jerry, and
Sounds familiar.
they have these seminars that you go to where she teaches you the concept that she channels this energy, Abraham. It's not, I don't know necessarily say it's the Abraham in the Bible, but I've been following her since I was really young, but never could understand anything she was saying until 2 years ago. It would not resonate with me. And but one of the things she said, and it's very interesting in one of her videos that she does. She doesn't do videos like you're doing, but she does videos for, her workshops where you'll get to watch her workshop. In one of her workshops she does, a man gets up and he says, he feels, and this is really interesting. Now it's not political, but it's going to sound political, but it's going to tell you a reason behind it. So he says, I just really feel bad because, I didn't want Trump to win. And she said, and he felt like guilty because, and what she explained to us is that we are all responsible for who's anywhere because of the fact that, even if we worked against, say, like I said, well, I don't want this thing to happen. If you're spending so much time in energy, I hear doggies, if you're spending so much time working on not wanting something versus on working on something you do want. So we were all focusing, the ones that didn't want that aspect of it. There's different People want different things, but the ones that did want him not to become the president, we were just as guilty in that. If you wanted to go with guilt, we were just as responsible because we were focusing on what we didn't want versus putting energy toward what we do want. And so when personal things happen, like you were mentioning something about attractions to the wrong people, mine is always this particular type person, and I get through them quicker each time, like real fast, and it's done.
Yeah, the staircase
And
was.
I'm sure you know I had a recent experience where it was done in the blink of an eye, and I know you know what I'm talking about. I don't even need to say it to you. I'm talking about very recent. And so, but the reality for me is that this I came to some real, very good realizations about why we attract the people we do. And can I share that with you?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what this is about. Go ahead.
I'm going to ramble for a second, and then I'm going to go and listen in and just relax for the rest of your show. Let someone else call in. But
they can
this
call
was the
while you're
realization,
talking. So it's like I said, this is why I like this phone system, because it can hold up to 5 callers at once. That's why I ask
great.
people to
Okay.
stay muted while I'm in a conversation with you. And then if I see them in there, then, I'll kind of shorten it up a little bit with you so that way they can get a chance
Yeah.
to talk. But
Oh, that's
yeah,
really good. That's
yeah,
good.
no problem. Go
It's
for
very
it.
different. The curtains behind you that are flowing in the wind, at moments they either look like people or they look like steak. Like a piece of steak.
Funny.
Or they're funny. And then they'll look like curtains again when I kind of flow down to them. They're very interesting. I love it. I can't take my eyes off that window. It's beautiful. So what I realized was a lot deeper than just the concept of if you don't love yourself, you can't love other people. First off, that's in the book I'm doing, and it talks about the reality of love as the action of respect. So if you're not respecting yourself, then you are not able to respect somebody else. But what the interesting thing about this is, because the action, again, of love is respect, and this came up for me really strong, because I realized I met this man, and he's been doing some work for me, and he's an identical soul of mine. He's identical to me in every way. Now, the interesting thing is there's parts of myself that I would say, you could say, well, is it the parts of yourself that you don't like that would make you not be attracted to this particular person who's so much like you? And the realization came to me that that's not it at all. It isn't that. It may be a portion of it, maybe 10% on a scale from 1 to 100. What it really is, it could be anything we don't accept about ourselves. It could be the creative, like I'm a very highly creative person, and I may not have acknowledged that within myself and went in and said, wow, you can really create. And I've been doing that a lot for the last year now and realizing, wow, I'm extremely creative. And if you said that, if you were in school when you were a kid, they'd come and kick your sand castle down, and people there is energies. There are different energies. We can't, deny that those are not out there, but it's usually, again, focusing back on their self and what they're not seeing within themselves to come kick your castle down.
That's right.
I think I made some sense there. But
Yes.
I'm trying to get to this point, and I think I'm almost there, so it's not necessarily that it's only the things about you that you don't like that resonate in someone like you that makes you not be with that person. It's the realization that almost like, not even self-love, but more the self-acceptance, and say, wow, defining the good things in yourself, and then maybe your attractions can change. Because I did for a long time, I'm not going to say always, here I go again, same attraction, here I go again, same attraction. And the realization is, in my life, where I've come to, is I believe that it's a divine energy that keeps me by myself, which I'm okay with that. And other people want to say, no, you need to be in a relationship. I am in relationship with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not alone out here. I like to say it this way. When someone feels like they're really lonely, I like to say, you're never alone. You're in we're all in one big house in separate units. It's like a big apartment complex, and we're all here. And I just loved everything you taught because that partly on perception. It's what we perceive. When I was a child, my father used to play games with us in the living room as kids, and he'd stick his feet in everybody's faces, and I hated it. And I was just not, it was this loathing to me that he would do this. And I thought that everyone in the room felt like that, my brother and my other two sisters. So many, many years later, I called my sister and I told her, I, she goes, oh yeah, she goes, we all thought it was really funny, and that's why Dad continued to do it, and you just did not receive that well. And so that's where perception, this was such a good show. I think, to be honest, I'm going to go in a second, and I just want to say this. I think it might be a good idea to do another one on this.
Sure.
That if you'll come up with more, I love all your imagery, and I know that took a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I also want to, say you don't have to put all that work into your show. You can put just you in that show, and you could be there at a desk talking, Michelle, and I would love to hear everything that you have to say.
You're
just
so
awesome.
sweet. But sometimes it helps, though, to have something to look at, to show, like this one is, called deception in the, in your perspective. So to clear that up, to actually look at something and then visualize yourself as the images are flowing of you coming out of that, and the clarity of thought through your, not, your mind, your heart, and your whole being, the awakening process that is going on in everybody, each unique, each divine, and in no certain order, because that doesn't matter. But I like that, with the imagery, that they could kind of follow it along with this certain topic. I do want to get more into the simplicity of it, that we are the ones that make it more difficult. We're the ones that want it to be more complex, more difficult, and you need to do this or be this way. Once you've untwisted your thought process, and with you realize who you are, you see only pure, and then your heart is completely changed. You would not ever want to go out and hurt anybody. It's not in you.
Absolutely.
It's not in you anymore.
Absolutely.
Because you see them for who they truly are. There's no better than or less than. But collectively, I want to touch on some of the things that I was listening to you share. Collectively, that's how we'll know when we're at a tipping point, because collectively we create too. That's where we get the rulers and things like that the people deserve, not necessarily the ones that they want, but the ones that we deserve for how we are treating one another. When we stop with all the judgment and hurting and hewing down other people, other beings, and see that there is nothing outside of God, and that everybody is equal and able to equally
Absolutely.
co-create, we will then change this place overnight. I mean, it can be that simple.
Well, I do see a real big, I see something, and I would like to share it if that's okay with you. I see
Yes.
something, even with what has happened. Tonight I watched a video of what's going on in, I think it's Minneapolis, or is it Missouri? Missouri. Where is Missouri anyway? Is that near Tennessee? Where is it?
Missouri is over by Oklahoma, Kansas, Colorado, somewhere in that area. Mid U.S.
Missouri's not near Cincinnati, right? Is it?
No. Ohio? That's
No.
way north.
Okay. So I'm not good with maps. I'm going to tell you right now, when they do Mandela effect map stuff, I never pay attention to, because I'm like, well, I didn't know where it was to begin with.
Yeah, I'm
But,
terrible with geography. Don't feel bad. We have that in common.
I used to be so bad with it, I called geography geometry. I'm just kidding.
I wasn't that bad because I was really good at math. So you're so funny.
Well, this is what I saw. This is what I saw over the last few days. First off, I watched a video tonight, and it was so extremely painful to watch. and it was a violent video that I had to turn it off, because it was what was going on over there for real today, right now, where they're literally, the cops are just getting out and just shooting in the streets. And it was so painful. And then I realized that, when this first happened with this man that got the knee in the neck, and, somebody was trying to say, well, he couldn't possibly have been talking and not breathing. Well, I have asthma, and I talk when I'm not breathing, and I can tell if you do that enough, your heart will weaken out and you'll pass. So that's not going to be an excuse that's going to be used. But I believe that this was all sort of a plan from the beginning, and not necessarily a good plan, okay? It was a plan from some of the more forces of the earth that were going in a negative direction, just from, say, I won't say when, but just, recently over the last 4 years, it's been leading to a lot of even more of this type of behavior. But here's the problem. When after I could understand why the African American community or whoever was supportive of them as well, that decided to go out and do these things that they were doing in the street. And a lot of judgment came upon them. But what people did not realize, and this is just my opinion, Michelle's opinion. This is going to be Truth Set You Free's opinion. But this is the issue. If you're doing the best you can as a culture or a race or whatever, and you are being brought down even when you don't have a weapon, you feel that every day you wake up and when you go to the streets, there's a possibility a cop is going to kill you. After a while, there's a breaking point where everybody just said, okay, I don't want to use cuss words, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and do whatever I want then, because I can't win for trying. Mm-hmm. So now, the first video I saw that really touched base on this for me was in the middle of the night a couple of nights ago, where I watched a video where they were, taking all the stuff out of Target, and they were just walking slow to their cars with it. They were taking it like they had the right. And I understand that's not the right way to do things, but nobody can say what's right way to protest and not right way to protest, because this was what they were doing. But the world of judgment did not look at it as their form of protest. They looked at it like, oh, so now the collective negativity came in and said, well, now this is going to, for me it was sad because it was like a setup. And once it happened to this extent, eventually the camel straw broke off the back. And these people went out and did these things, only now to just be murdered blatantly, just being shot by the hundreds right now. And so I can't, it was too much for my spirit. It was so
Viv, on things like that, like for if you want, somebody that dives deep and he's got pretty darn good discernment. See, I don't watch television.
I wish I could hear you.
Well, maybe you'll have to play it back, or we can visit after. But Brian Stabley, check out. I'll give you the links to his channels. I don't know if you're subscribed.
I have his channel. I don't follow Brian no more.
Okay, well,
but that's okay.
He pretty much brings those up so that people won't put their energy behind it to to create that disharmony. He does a show on Karen B's channel called Unveiling This Realm. It's a really beautiful show. I really think you would enjoy it. Karen is more turned the direction of where you are, in your walk, in your vibration, and with the balance between them. I really think that you would enjoy that. So
yeah, okay, but after I'll ask you what it is, because I wasn't able to hear any of it, so we can maybe talk later. But I'll just say this last thing. When you showed the picture in the beginning during the perception, you put up a picture and said, how does this feel? And your first picture was what I had just seen. And it was like, whoa, this was not a mistake. And my perception did not go where it used to go, that oh, this is how it all is toward me. My reality is that I have to still continue to create my own reality and stay within that positive fifth dimension love energy, because that's where we're vibrating to. That's where we're shifting to. And the fifth dimension just means the love dimension,
Mm-hmm.
where everything will be in a peace state, and where we will visually see more toward how we are toward others. It will be more of a we instead of a me society. And I do realize that anything that we do in this life, even when somebody makes a diamond, they have to compress it really, really hard and squeeze it until the pressure just forms it into this beautiful diamond. And that's what's happening now. But it's, as a sensitive soul, as a, I don't like to label myself empath, whatever. I've been told everything from other people. I'd rather just say I'm an extremely sensitive soul. And this has been just really a rough 3 days, because even when I've been not focusing on that and putting myself into just staying busy with my own world, my own life, and my own energy, because this is all of our dream. This is a dream we're walking in. It's almost, when I say a dream, I'm not talking about like dreams and visions and the things that we, think of what we want, but that becomes part of that creation. But I'm talking about that I believe we are here and walking in this almost sleep dream, and each one of us is working a journey for that particular dream to get to that certain place. And I realize that even in the midst of, staying busy in my own world, I still could feel the energies like I did at 911 when all those people, were being like crushed by the building. Because nobody's going to say that people didn't die in there. That the people were crushed. And so during that time, I remember just sleeping at night and literally hearing out the cries of the people in my dreams. And so, I would actually say that I'm not really sure, and I thought maybe you'd give me an opinion on that, what your feelings were about what's going on there, and then I'll go.
Well, I wasn't there, but I do know that they sure did show us on the television for 3 days straight, every single channel, over and over and over again, traumatizing people. And by using, projecting out that trauma amongst the people, they were able to then convince us of going to war with another sovereign country, because to fulfill what, giving our power and over to what they're trying to create. That's why when I brought up the images, I was wanting for people to tap into how it makes you feel. How did each one make you feel? And if you're handing your power over to somebody that's projecting those fear narratives to you, you're not standing in your own authority, but you're still having say so in what's going on. It's just like you explained earlier, by focusing on, so much, we don't want this person, you were still feeding it energy. So we got to watch and guard how we manage our thoughts, our perceptions, where we're putting our energy and our intention, because that is causing the manifestation in the collective consciousness that can
Right,
affect
right.
everybody.
It is bringing up for me, as you were saying that, the realization that, as you're saying, they posted this to the TV. So I don't watch TV. I picked up a few little videos of it. Thank God I don't watch TV. But that in that, it's almost again making it back to the problem that, okay, the way it would look to people that say, who are racial, okay, they're seeing these black people go out and do this stuff in retaliation for what has happened. And then they're now looking and saying, oh, they are bad. Because people are in a cancel culture. They're canceling out what is being done that is wrong, and not uh, putting justice toward the thing, the people that caused this, which was erratic police officers who did not know how to handle um, things with love. And I'm real emotional now because I expressed that, so I'm not going to stay. But I wanted to say it's just so painful to see. And the sad part is there's people like me and who else other that do not feel any division between cultures, races, and we are sometimes put a target by races that feel that we are against them when it's not. That's the perception coming from them, because there are people out here that are white or whatever other color that do not have prejudice toward African Americans. And I just uh, I just hope that the squeezing of the diamond isn't going to be much longer. That was a little joke.
Yeah, yeah, the pressure, and like I had, that's what I'm trying to express here is, anybody that commits a crime or what we would consider a crime, and the judgments and that we throw around, we're perpetuating that creation. And also it's because of a twisting in their thinking of not yet having the understanding of who and what they are. That's why I went through the different imagery to try to bring out the true you, that is, infinite, beautiful, wonderful, loving, unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness. You are, divine, sovereign, and you have authority and power. It's just we need to start with our own house and then extend it around us, and then, hopefully affect the collective consciousness so that we're not manifesting such horrible things. Or are these horrible things really happening, or are they just trying to perpetuate
Right.
that
Well,
on the television so we will manifest this confusion? Because we are waking up. It's a huge awakening.
hmm
There's a lot going
well,
on.
the thought for me here is, because and I shouldn't say it, but even if two wrongs don't make a right, these people feel they have no other choice. You cannot imagine, unless you're an African American person, what it would be like to constantly go out and be wronged every day, shot for no reason, maybe because you could have been walking down the street in your death, and you don't hear the cop try to stop you, and then they just shoot. And they're shooting. It has, you know, I'm glad I'm talking to you on this, but I'm going to say this: shooting has nothing to do with protecting the law, or the. It's all about the narcissism of wanting people to respect them as cops. It's not nothing to do with anyone's. 90% of the time, I would say now 90%, maybe 80% of the time, there's not even a weapon involved with the person that's getting killed. So, you know, the thing is looking at that as, two wrongs don't make a right, is kind of still going back to the realization that this is the only way they know how to protest, to say, look, we've done what you've wanted. We have been actually blamed for being something we're not. Because in every culture, there's boys who grow up and go rob places, and there's in every culture there's girls who grow up and go do things wrong that society as a society cannot collectively handle them doing. And I'm trying to make this fast, but what I'm trying to say is that just because of that situation, just because of that, does not mean that in the black community, that so many attacks being done on them. There were a group of them that said enough is enough, and you want to do to us, we're going to do to you. And it wasn't about a two wrong make a right. They weren't trying to make a right. What they were showing was, why should we do anything right if you're going to attack us anyway? Why should we conform to, like the second picture you showed? The second picture you showed was these police
Mm-hmm.
all policing the state, and I mean, it was a perfect night, perfect show for all of the stuff that I was feeling, because it's no longer about blame. We got to get out of being a cancel culture. We have to stop canceling out what we do and then blaming it on someone else. And Even the things that you attract in your life, like if I'm attracting the wrong man, even that, I no longer am blaming that man for being the one I'm attracted to. The realization is, what is it in me that is attracting to that, for me to see that I need to either love myself more, or that other person needs to love themselves more, and that I need to forgive another person for not being where I'm at. And that goes back to what you were talking about earlier before you opened the show. So good night. I went through the whole thing.
Okay, sweetie, and you're the only call that I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna do my final thoughts.
Well,
And
I love you very much, and I'm so glad I got the notification from you, and then I got the notification when I set it. I set the notification, and it actually came to me this time on my phone, so I'm like really excited. So I'm hoping I will be getting notifications and not missing your shows, because
there
I
must be a
really would
ton of
like to
people
focus on
live
this.
tonight, since there's really not many here tonight, but it's okay. I mean, you know what? The right people will be attracted to whatever show is right
Right,
for them to
right, and that's
hear.
what I meant. That even you sitting at a desk, you your energy is enough. Also, I'm not saying that the backgrounds and all the pictures. And by the way, I did screenshot. I'm not going to use it on anything unless you let me. But I did screenshot the picture with the words for each one of the perceptions,
Mm-hmm.
so that I could, that I could look it over, and just kind of remind myself. Because no matter where I am at my age, I'm always, because I am such an emotional being and a sensitive soul, I tend to fall back without trying to fall back. People are always trying to pull me out, and they need to let me climb out.
Yeah,
They're always
the
trying to
the
grab me
twisted
and save
the
me, and they need to
twisted
let me climb
thinking
out with their love.
the twisted
Do what?
thinking, the one that had the 1 through I think 11 or whatever, that those are all misconceptions that we have, that we go through, and they need to go. That we need to stop thinking that way, and just start uh, taking care of one another, not holding grudges, and not just realize we're brothers and sisters, and we're to operate in love and in forgiveness. Once you do that and you see all is pure, you're pure, all is pure, then you're not gonna, you're gonna resonate at such a high vibe that you're gonna see the equality, the divinity, the beauty, the wonder, and also know your part in creation and what you can create, around you. What say so that you
The
have. It's
the
just
easiest way to do
amazing.
this is a very easy way to do this. It's very easy. And you were talking about that too. So here it is. Give the right of judgment back to God. Don't judge. Just give the right of judgment back to God.
Well, the God I've met
I
is
don't,
only love. There is no judgment. None. None.
right. That's what I'm saying. So if you are judging, don't do it. Just give that right back to God. Don't be the one to think that you have the right to do any of that anyway. I mean, who am I to need to forgive someone unless I've already been the one to create the grudge?
Mhm.
And so if I'm too weak to stop my judging, because I know God does not judge. I do not believe that I was born in, I do not, I'm sorry. I was not born into a world where I'm going to hell. I do not have hell in my belief system. And I'm not going to for other people to accept me. I believe that God loves us all, every single one of us, and that we are all that collective love, that there is nothing but love, and that love itself is creative. Creative. When you're working from your creation, creating even the smallest things, draw a picture, write a book, sing a song, love yourself. The journey here is to realize that, yes, we must have really gotten off track with all the need for punishment. And it's been many years. And I do believe it was like a wound. And I'm not trying to point fingers. We already know politically that I don't like people who are racial and stuff. And so back in 16, when things started getting really, really a little out of hand for me, I saw this coming. I saw it already. I was pre-seeing. And so where I was at with it was, there was still, even though during the Obama years, there was less of this outward, you had a layer down below where people were still very racial and they were holding it in, and it was like a cut that just exploded. And now it's out again, this same thing that the black society feels they're going through. But when you think about creation, there was a period of time, and boy, this might step on people's toes here, but there was a period of time where they were still so stuck in what happened to them to begin with, that they continued to create the reality where they're at now as well. I don't know how to explain that. So everything is involved with everything, and I don't know if that made sense, what I just said to you, but if you understood what I was trying to say, that if you want a change of reality, you have to think it, but then you have to remember that there are other people thinking as well. It's not just, I'm going to get up and go to the store today and everyone is going to move out of my way. Well, they might. They might not.
That's not how. That's not it.
So, I just love everybody. I do.
Yes.
I love everybody, and I'm not any better than anybody else. I came on a show the other night, and this girl kept going on and on and on in the chat room about how much she loved God and loved God. That's great. But if your actions are just to talk about what you're doing, love yourself. Love yourself. Let God love you. God doesn't need us. We need God. God doesn't need... that's the concept of that. I don't have a weak God. God doesn't... He cradles me in... Or God cradles me in the palm of God's hand. I don't like to use he or she, but sometimes it comes out because it's the easy way to say it. But cradles me in the palm. And you know my soul. You do. You see it. I know you do. I've talked to you privately. And I'm going to tell you I'm a sensitive soul. So, thank God for that, instead of constantly pointing that finger, because there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about another time. But I just want you to focus on the top of your picture. There's a light that is now flaring. It's almost like it wasn't there earlier. In your photo behind you, you have the same circularization. And all of a sudden now there's this one light. Do you see it? And it's just, how is that one now standing out more than the rest?
That's just
Like,
your perception. It's
Does
been there
it
the
change
entire
different
time.
Simulation?
It's a gift. It's just doing its thing. And so
That's very interesting.
opening up your perception more. That's good.
Well,
That's
thank
good.
you so much. And I know I overtalked, but you know who I am.
Yes. And I'll get with you after
Okay.
after the show, hon. Okay, and I'm going to close this. So
Okay.
thank you very much. And
Okay.
this was Truth.
Oh, yeah.
The truth sets
I'm
you
so glad
free.
you sent me the link.
Oh yeah, honey. Always. Always. Okay. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, love you. Bye-bye.
All right, love you too.
Okay, bye.
Okay, wow, that was a great conversation. I wanted to add that in Scripture, it talks about places that the disciples who had become apostles had entered, where they actually had worshipped. Diana worship is what they called it, where they worshiped the feminine aspect rather than the masculine aspect of God. But we have to understand the equality. Not male nor female should be lifted up above either. Both bring so much, to the table, and the equality and balance, just like the left half and right half of your brain, and the simple truth of, to the pure, all things are pure. And do you believe in Christ? Do you believe what Christ said? When he said it's finished, do you believe him? When he says the kingdom's at hand, do you believe him? Well, I do. And also the teachings of Christ may be a little different than what is in the book if you were to read it at a surface level as something outside of yourself. Read the book from within yourself, and then look at the book as an outward affirmation, as you would the skies around you, the expansion of your heart, the co-creating with your neighbors and as brothers and sisters in unity, and the simplicity of the truth. It's us that makes it so difficult, but it's just simply that we are all brothers and sisters, co-creators. And I liked what Viv brought up there at the end on God doesn't need worship. Okay, the reason we're drawn to God is the love of God draws us to God. God, our Creator, loves us unconditionally and so purely, it's beyond our comprehension. So we are attracted to that connection to connect back up. And when we're connecting back up and we're going through the awakening and things that don't serve us are being removed, as the truth is resonating within us, we lose the deception in our perception and things become a lot more clear. And not saying it happens overnight. Some of us, cleave to things longer than others or try to overcomplicate something that really can be just simply put that everything you are, everything that is in you, with you, has always been created by you, for your experience, your expansion, and for your growth. And you have been the one helping with your brothers and sisters to manifest this experience. So with that said, I wasn't planning on going for an hour and a half, but we did, and that was great. Guys, always share what you know and listen so we can grow. I love you guys so much, and I hope you enjoyed Vivian's call-in. She is wonderful. She's got a lot to share. So I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.